Welcome to Let's Talk Life with London. My next guest is so special and truly one of a kind, and I'm so inspired by all of his work and everything he's doing. His name is Ricky Davii, and Ricky is a New York City-based entrepreneur who retired as a hairstylist to launch a company in tech that helps Black and queer creative leaders. Ricky's been featured in Vogue, Allure, Harper's Bazaar, Refinery 29, and so much more. And his talents have actually opened up so many doors for him to partner with brands like Puma, Apple, Foot Locker, and so many more. And to also work with influential people like Saweetie, June Ambrose, and so many more. So his dream is to be one of the most sought after bosses and creatives of our generation, and I believe that's going to happen for him. Without further ado, I'm going to welcome Ricky to the show.
Hello.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi. That was awesome. You sure you're gonna play all the time?
You can call me in whenever you need me.
Yeah. Hype me up.
I love it. So how are you feeling today, first of all?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed, highly favored, and just excited. I'm in a space of gratitude. To simply put,
I
Yeah.
love that. So I first want to know what inspired you to start your own company, because there's so many people that have so many creative, amazing ideas, but they just don't know how to bring it to life.
Right. So with that, actually, there's so many different platforms and Instagram accounts and all of these things that are very targeted, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes we find the target being just Black folk, and then with that target being so broad, a lot of the times the people who actually need those resources, they fall short from it, right? And then you have some platforms that are just for queer folk, but then it falls short when nobody that looks like us are receiving it, or we have these women-based opportunities and things like that. But again, they don't fall for us. They don't really look. It just don't happen. You get a couple for diversity, but that's it. So during the pandemic, it was really hard to get work because as a hairstylist, I'm very very weird about colds and flus and stuff already. So the pandemic just kind of kept me on lock, like it kept everybody on lock, and a lot of the tours got canceled, and big festivals and things just got canceled, right? So I'm like, well, what's next for me? What, this may be a time for me to just take a step back and focus on something that actually makes me happy. And I always wanted to be in tech. I know that sounds so weird, but I always wanted to create a search engine, and that's where Slick came from. And it's a resource destination, for Black and queer creatives. And outside of it being a how do I say this? It's outside of it being just we have resources for fashion, we have resources to find money. There's just so many other elements to it. So if you were able uh, to slick something, you'll be able to. It'll come up and be direct for you, right? So you wouldn't necessarily. It wouldn't be like a Google where it's so broad, right? When you Google search something, you'll be able to have a narrow thing. And that was my main purpose in creating Slick, because it's I want it to be pinpointed. I want to be able to inspire people to know that hey, this is for me. I don't have to worry about anything else. So that's, long story short, that's basically my inspiration around it, is just making sure that we have access,
Yeah.
making sure that we have the resources on hand without it being all of these hoops and everything to go through.
So basically, it's a more tailored search engine.
Exactly.
Okay. And where can people find it?
So right now we're like getting everything together, like
Yeah.
framework. At the very beginning stages. However, on our website, we so slick .com, you'll be able to sign up for like the mailing list, and then
Okay.
there's like certain things that I do, like in the email blast. Like I make sure that we have funding opportunities and like all of
Okay.
these things. We're now getting into more activations so that people can come out and like actually experience it firsthand. So we're doing a lot of like cool things in the office. We're creating like a co-working demo. Also, like so, it's just a lot of moving parts, but
Mhm.
it's going to take some time. But we're getting close.
I can only imagine the development process of that,
And
like, tech in itself, but, like, a whole search engine, like, I'm really excited for you because that's
thank
I
you.
believe that's gonna be so big, so big.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's intense. It's like because you want to make sure you include everybody, but
Mhm,
then you
mhm.
have to still still think very broadly. So it's
Right.
like okay, you know. So
Baby steps, baby steps.
baby steps. I'm
Yeah.
not rushing this at all. Like my team we're so focused on just making it like making things better
Mhm,
for the
mhm.
community that we're not rushing what
Yep.
the timing that God put on the way that this should go.
Mhm. I love that. Do you feel like how people support this endeavor or any of your projects kind of shifts where you put your energy and where you put your focus?
Okay, so yes and no, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Because I just did a crowdfunding um, effort, right? And at the beginning, I felt so bad. I felt
Mhm,
so sad and like because I made this very ambitious goal, right? And I was like, we're gonna raise it and yeah, we're gonna go.
mhm.
And a lot of people who just didn't, like a lot of people just didn't provide like, donate or like stuff like that. And it put me in
Mhm.
a really sad spot only because, I'm like, I'm always supporting people. I'm
Yeah.
always doing this, I'm always doing that. And my mentor was like, you know, you should focus on the things that are happening though. Like you
Yeah.
see that people are sharing it, you see
Mhm.
that people are, putting it in their email blast, you see that people are, talking about it and like, all of these things. And, it was a kind of like a slap almost like how like people will slap you so you can wake up. Like yeah, exactly what it feels like, because
Yeah.
she it was true, like there's so many, I had to figure out what support looked like, right? And
Mm, mhm.
understanding that it wasn't necessarily a monetary thing. We also
Wow.
just came out of a pandemic. Most
Yeah.
people don't have a
Yeah.
job. Most people,
Yep.
unemployment just got cut off. A lot of people
Yeah.
just don't have it, and
Mhm.
I'm grateful for those who did,
Yep.
and I'm even more grateful for people who shared and just
Yeah.
like kept talking about it, kept posting it. And it actually was when I kind of stepped back and got out of that sadness because the devil was like, you suck. Like
Yep.
that's literally what I was hearing, like you suck,
Mhm.
this is stupid. Nobody believes in this. This is dumb.
Mm.
Like your little video, it actually didn't tell that much about like I was picking
Wow.
everything apart, so I think that the support again just comes from so many different ways,
Yep.
like I've had people reach out and just like, I didn't donate, but I do have this resource. So how about you reach out to this person? And things have
Mhm.
kind of connected, in so many different ways. So I just to go back to your question, I just think that the support and everything looks and feels different, and I
Yeah.
should receive it the way that it's intended to be. Like
I
it's
love
not all
that.
about money. It's not all
Yeah.
about all of those things. It's more so me seeing the people saying, "Oh, go kid, go."
Yep. I've struggled with the same thing. I've actually had to pat my own self on the back and stop waiting for someone else to do it for me. And
Mhm.
also, if it doesn't come from someone else, not feeling defeated. Like you were saying, it's like
exactly.
just because I'm not getting affirmations from other people, which I shouldn't be seeking that anyway. It's nice though. It's nice to
Yeah,
have it.
it's
I
good.
shouldn't be seeking that. But at the end of the day, as long as I'm doing what I need to do and
Mhm.
fulfilling my purpose through the journey and through the process, at the end of the day, I don't care if it reaches 1.5 people.
Yep.
It's as long as someone hears it, someone sees it, someone digests it, I've
Uh-huh.
done my job,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I literally just touch one and we're good.
Yep, that's
One
it.
and we're good. We're
Well,
good.
we want more. We
We
want
want
more.
more, for sure. For sure. Like I'm humbled. I'm
Yeah,
humbled.
I'm
I'm a
humbled.
little bit.
Yeah. So I know you're no longer a hairstylist at this time, but do you mind sharing just how you broke into the beauty industry? Because that's how we actually met. I was producing a social shoot, and you were just so sweet to me, and I will never forget just how great you were to work with. And so that's how I remember you, is
Yeah.
working in the hair and beauty space. So tell me like how you got into that.
So I actually fell into it. You know how like when you're a kid and you just pick up your talents, right? You just pick up the things that
Mhm,
you like to do,
mhm,
right? Like there's so many things that I love to do, right?
mhm,
And one of those things was hair. Like I will always play with my sister's Barbie dolls and
mhm.
like the big Bratz heads and stuff like that.
Love
And
the
oh
brats.
my god, when those came out, I was so happy.
I actually want one now.
I kind of
Like,
do too. Like I keep talking, it keep coming up, so I might buy me one.
yeah, right.
Yeah, it was so awesome, and like playing with those as a kid was really like fun because I was able to create, right?
Mhm,
And so as I got older, I started like being around my cousins more, who are phenomenal hairstylists back home in St. Louis. But like they do it in their house. Sorry, there's a helicopter.
no problem.
They do it in their house, like all of these things. So, because also being queer in a Christian upbringing, I kind of
Mhm,
suppressed all of it a little bit
mhm.
because, it's just my dad's a pastor and it's just weird. It was weird times.
Oh, you're a pastor's child, a PK.
Of PK,
Love
so,
that.
so it was very weird, and I didn't know my sexuality. It's all of that. But
Mhm,
then, as I got older and kind of like broke out of it, for college, I started cutting people's hair, like cutting
mhm,
guys' hair or whatever to make money, like we were trying to make money.
mhm,
So I did that and I would like braid hair and like stuff like that. And one day, this was when I was in college in Kansas City. One day I went to my god sister's hairdresser, and she owned this Paul Mitchell salon in Kansas City, and she had her hair done, and she was like, "Well, who did your hair or whatever?" And
mhm.
my god sister was like, "Yeah, he did it," like very casual type thing, right?
Yes.
And so she was just like, "Oh my god, that is amazing." She was like, "This is so good. When did have you ever done hair before?" Da da da. And I'm just like, telling her, "No, I just, I do the kitchen cuts, kind of
Mhm,
situation."
mhm.
And she's like, "Do you want an internship?" And I'm like,
Wow.
dropped out of college. Ended
Wow.
up working underneath her, Rashana. That's also my mentor. So when I mentioned my mentor earlier, this is her because she
Okay.
is also just like a boss. Like she's
Mhm,
very, very smart and like she owns all of these businesses. She's just really great. But she gave me that opportunity, and I kind of just like ran with it. And she'll kill me for saying this on camera, but they had to let me go, right? So
mhm,
they ended up having to let me go. And it wasn't because I was doing a bad job or anything like
mhm,
that. It was just personally, well, after, conversation over the years, they kind of expressed that they thought that there was something bigger for me. And
mm.
from that moment, I moved to New York literally with 22 bucks in my pocket and I made it happen, like
Wow.
I was like, let's try it. Like
Yeah.
let's do it. And I worked underneath another person, Pat Sumter, who's also from St. Louis. and we have the same last name, so we kind of like,
Oh,
mixed,
cool.
and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I'm a Libra and her twins were Libras. It was just a lot
Oh,
of
I love
connection.
that.
And she introduced me to like the celebrity world, or like
Mhm,
the entertainment side of it all.
mhm.
And I enjoyed it. And, the rest was history, really.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. So that transition from your hometown to New York City, was that scary or did it just feel right?
It just felt right. I
Mhm,
was scared for 2 seconds because I took the bus, the 125, from
mhm,
the
mhm.
airport,
Wow,
and it dropped
yes.
me. Yes, exactly. It dropped me off in front of that Popeye's chicken.
Ah, not the Popeyes.
They are. I love. Girl, I was sitting on the corner with a white fur coat that I bought from the thrift store on my suitcase because my phone died and I couldn't
Oh,
find my friend. It was a lie, but in that
mhm.
moment, I was like, something just said, "You're fine."
Wow.
Like something just felt. I was like, "Okay,
Mhm,
you're fine.
mhm.
Fine. You're fine. It's
Yeah.
okay."
I had when I first, arrived in New York, I had, like, a fight or flight
Mhm.
attitude. It was just kind of like, "Oh, you have no choice." Like, you gotta go like, you have no choice but to get into it because
Mhm.
it's like, it's either that or you don't survive.
Exactly.
You
Literally, you
know?
don't.
It's interesting, but
Have you ever
I
had odd jobs?
what'd you say?
Have you ever had an odd job, like just to make money? Like when you was like, "Okay, I'm depressed." I mean, not depressed, but I'm desperate.
I'm desperate. Um, no, I've always been in, like, childcare. So
Got you.
those were, like, my odd jobs, I guess you
Got
could say,
you.
like, my in-betweens.
Uh huh.
I always knew I could fall back on that because I nannied for so many families that, like, anytime that I had to take a break from them or come back, they always just, like, welcomed me back, so
Right.
that I wish I had, like, a gutter story.
No,
Like
that's good. That's good. That's good. It's good. I was
yeah,
curious.
I don't, but I've worked since I was 16. I put myself through college. I bought my first car on my own. Like I've always been like a hustler, so I've always had multiple jobs, but
Yeah.
they've always normally like related in some way.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your
Hair,
story?
hair is my like my fallback, but I used
Uh-huh.
to like. I know this is gonna sound so bad, but it's just so funny the way I express it. But I used to sell kids.
What?
Like in Union Square, where like they'll say, "Oh, you dropped something," and then they'll try to like get you to talk about like donated to a kid
Oh,
somewhere.
donating. Yes, yes, yes.
I
Yes.
call it selling kids because it was just like, I had to convince people like, "Oh, this kid is amazing. Like this, da da
Oh,
da da." Like the sentiment is great, but at the same time, I felt so bad doing
I know.
it. I felt so bad doing it. So I just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And
I love
yeah,
that.
that was like the oddest one. But there was definitely a lot of things that I've done to like make money in New York.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to find a way, like, you just have
Exactly.
to do it. Like,
There's no other
you
choice.
have to.
Fight or
So,
flight.
you do so much already, but in addition to your tech company and everything else, you're also the CMO of Live Streetwear. And I actually already looked at the site online,
Yeah.
and there's some hats
Yeah,
on there that
I got you. I'm
I'm
gonna send
a
you
hat girl. You know the
okay,
hat I need? Like, it's the one that kinda looks like the MTV symbol.
okay, cool. We just dropped it. Imma send you
I
one.
love that one. So, this is actually going to be in store, December. So, brand new launch in December at
Mhm,
Foot Locker, correct?
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Okay,
so we, that hat won't be there, but that'll still be in our store, but we're gonna have, a different collection that nobody saw, in the
awesome.
store. Yeah, it's my, best friend, Olivia, who's, like, the creator of Live Streetwear. She,
Incredible.
is from Alabama, and, being close with somebody for so long, you kinda, like, get intertwined in each other's stuff, right?
Mhm,
She helps me out in my business, I help her out in hers. And
mhm.
at one point, we just looked at each other and was like, let's try it. Like let's
Good.
go with the business together. Let's be business partners and like really go in and like do what we need to do. Like I'm a numbers guy, so
Okay.
I love numbers. I love just like all of the technical stuff.
Uh-huh.
And she is an amazing designer. So every design she's, like that's her thing. And
Mhm.
together we just work. It just makes sense. We're actually here looking for more manufacturers and having meetings so that we can, expand even more. But she,
Mhm.
working together on just like ideas and getting it done is really cool because it's very like she's all about women empowerment, so it's like
Awesome.
really dope to be in that space too and like make women feel good because that's
Mhm.
what I did with hair, like my
Yeah.
goal was to always make sure that women or whoever I worked with, felt good, like felt great when they looked at themselves in the mirror. So it's awesome to
Mhm.
like have that same effect but in a different medium.
Mhm. She sounds amazing. I need to meet her.
Oh yeah, you should definitely meet her. Like y'all actually would be really good friends.
I love that. Yes, you have to make that happen.
I
So what
will.
does that work look like for you though? Like, so once you decided, okay, let's work together, what role did you decide to kind of own with that
Mhm.
with the brand?
So one of my odd jobs was PR, right?
Mhm.
So I kind of just dabbled a little bit and kind of learned a lot of the back end, like how
Mhm.
to reach out and like things like that. So that's how we kind of started.
Okay.
And she would throw these really dope parties in New York just to like get people more involved and like have pop up shops and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So with my connections and things like that, I was able to lock down a bunch of sponsorships and this and that, close some deals around it. And she's just
Mhm.
like, "Can we just do this more often?" And so, I was a little hesitant. I'm not gonna lie because working with friends can be tricky.
Mhm.
Like it can
Yeah.
really, really be tricky
Yeah.
because there's a level of like, wait, no, we need to really be, and I'm
Mhm.
not gonna say that it's all peaches and cream, especially now. We've been doing at it since like maybe 5 years now. So I'm
Wow.
not gonna say that it's like all cookies and cream, but
Mhm.
it is we understand each other, like she understands that I am business. Like I am
Yep.
the person who's like, hey, so what are we doing now? Da 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 da, like calling brands
Mhm.
and all of these things. And she's like she runs the what it looks like, where everything
Mhm.
looks like from social to
Mhm.
the clothing and choosing like the people that we want to work with and like all of that. So we have a very small team, but we definitely have we're stuck in the roles that we, what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
we're there.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think, when you're the creative or when you're like the visionary of a project, you have to have the numbers guy or the numbers
Yeah.
girl, like you need that because you need that space to kind of be free flowing with your
Hmm.
creativity.
Hmm.
And when
Hmm.
you're trying to, be the, one woman show, it's so hard to not let certain things slip through the cracks. So sure
Exactly.
she's so grateful to have you.
Yeah, that's my sister. Ah. you know?
Do you feel like with the work that you do, you're fulfilling your purpose?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm,
There's way more to me though, and I
mhm,
feel like in this chapter, yes. In this
mhm.
chapter, I
Chapter.
feel fulfilled. I feel like that part of me is filling up, because at one point I thought hair was my purpose, At
Mhm,
one point I thought music was my purpose. At one point
mhm,
I thought, all of these things was it. But
mhm,
I was reminded actually by my dad that, there's different stages in life that
mhm, mhm,
serve different purposes, and when
mhm.
you put them all together, you get you get
Yeah,
yourself. So
yeah,
I'm just grateful about or not grateful. I'm just amazed by the person that I'm becoming right now. Like and
yeah,
understanding like where I am and being patient with myself.
yeah.
I've been very patient with myself because
Mhm.
it can be very hard.
Yeah. It's so easy to beat up on ourselves and to think of all the things that we're not doing right or that we could have done differently,
Mhm.
but it's like if we're not speaking life into ourselves, who else is going to do it for us? It has to start with us. I read
Exactly.
this on the same topic of purpose, I read this devotional and it spoke about purpose. I'll have to send it to you. But
Yes.
it talks about we as humans, we try to like complicate purpose and we make it so like like it has to be this big epiphany.
Mhm.
But when we kind of silence out distractions and kind of like the world and just be still and in
Exactly.
present, we
Mhm.
will find there's certain things that are like our purpose clues, and it's the things that you love, the things that you're passionate about, the things that get you, excited, or the things
Mhm.
that, you're like, wait a second, that's not okay. So I'm going to stand for that, And so
Exactly.
there's those little hints that we kind of just think are like normal or like our personality or whatever. And it's like, no, this is like a purpose clue.
Right.
This is all coming together to make one big, journey for you. So
Yeah.
it's like we complicate it, but it's really so simple. It's
It's
really
so
just like
simple.
the things that we love and just being able to like bring that to life.
Right, exactly. It's really about yes, yes. Yes, absolutely. Because like when people be like, "That is my purpose." Like I had a friend who was so dedicated to this one thing, which is
Mhm,
good. Like I love people who are adamant about what they love and they stand
mhm.
on it and they go. But this person also has so many other things, like talents. Like
Yep.
I never heard him sing before, and then I heard him sing, and I'm just like, wait a second. Like it gave me chills, like it gave me goosebumps almost. And I'm like, so you never thought about just like creating like music for yourself? Like I do that, like
Mhm.
I probably write maybe 30 songs a week kind of situation.
Wow. Oh my god, okay, so
it's
now I need to hear you sing.
it's I'll send you some. I'll send you some.
Okay.
I got you. It's like that's one of my therapies though.
Yeah.
Like it's something because I tried to do it. Like I was in it. Like I had a manager. I was going to label meetings. I was doing this and that, and
Wow.
it just didn't feel I didn't like it,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's just people are so, when you're so stuck on one though, you miss all of these other great like
Wow.
moments to actually express and be, passionate in your heart fully. Because
Yeah.
when he's singing, it really did remind me to like do more music actually when he sang because
Mhm.
it was like
Mhm.
I felt something that I never knew about that person, but I
Mhm.
felt it in the emotion behind the words.
Mhm.
It was a lot, but yes, yes.
So, what would you say to the young Black creative that has so much potential, but just either doesn't know where to start or doesn't see or know of any resources to kind of like get them started?
Hmm, that's tricky because it's it goes back to that passion that we were talking
Mhm.
about, that purpose, right?
Mhm.
It's really just doing it
Yeah.
though, and understanding what the next goal is. Because also
Mhm.
a lot of times, like I fall victim of this, like a lot of times when I decide to do something, I'm so extra that I want to go hard, like I'm like,
Yeah.
it has to be, like even with Slick, like it took me so long to start posting on the social. It took me so long to like tell people about it. Even with the
Yeah.
Kickstarter that I did, it took me like maybe a month to like post about it, because
Wow.
I was like nervous, I was scared, I didn't know like what to do next and like the campaign and like all of that. And in those moments, I was reminded that it is okay to not know what the hell you're doing.
It's okay.
It's okay. okay
Yeah.
to not know what you're doing. And it is also okay to reach out to people that are doing what it is that you want to do. You know, like
Mhm.
people get
Mhm.
very, very scared to do that. You get intimidated to cold call somebody or cold email someone or DM them on the gram or something like that. You get nervous, but
Mhm.
those can be the people that, like really point you in the right direction. No,
Yeah.
everybody's not going to answer. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to be like, "Oh yes, I'll give you my resources," and like, no, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just not going to happen because a they may be too busy. B they might not. They be like, "Oh, I don't trust this. It's a spam." Kind
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
whatever. But if you do, I always say if you want something and there's a plethora of that thing out there, like if you want to be a tech person and there's all of these developers and like all of this stuff, you reach out to 30 or 40 or 50 of them, somebody's going to respond.
Somebody's gonna
Somebody's
respond.
the
Yeah.
probability, it's all about probability and it's all about persistence and determination. Like
Yep.
that's really my biggest advice is just go after what you want because
Mhm.
you never know what way you're going to get led, and
Yep.
always. And for me, it could be different for some people, but for me, I put God first. Like my
Yep.
faith is first.
Mhm.
Like I don't think that there's any vision that God gives me that I can't complete. Like there's just nothing that can stop me from completing a vision. Like
Yeah.
God will not let me. He will not do that. Like there,
Yeah.
they he, it will not happen. I will not complete something.
It won't. He's not, because here's the thing, it's like it's already in you, but
Right.
once he reveals it to you, that's on you to he gives you that free will to act on it or not.
Mhm.
There's been so many things that he has, even with this show, literally going back to like the purpose hints. I've
Yeah.
always known that this is like what I was meant to do,
Right.
but I had to be in a place to uh to walk in what
Yep.
he wanted me to
Yep.
walk into, but also be prepared, right?
Be
Because
prepared. Exactly.
he wants you to be prepared
Mhm.
to follow through with the purpose.
Exactly.
He doesn't want it to go unfinished. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of times we rush things because we're like, oh, I heard this or I saw this and now is
Mhm.
my time and now is my moment and I have to do it now.
Uh-huh.
It's you going back to that stillness. There's so much power in just
Being still.
being.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
That's a word.
Also, another thing with like believing in yourself, I posted a TikTok last week, and it's basically like the people that believe in themselves the most are not the people that know the most or not the people that are the most qualified. I learned this in corporate. Like the people that, make decisions, they're in leadership positions, so they're able to make the decisions. But the reason why they believe in whatever that is because they don't care about what they don't know. They just do it,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Like, do you realize that? Because even when I met you, you were in a totally different thing. You were doing totally
Yeah,
something different. However, it was actually on the path.
it
You know
was.
what I'm saying? Like you learned all of these things, even with like being a nanny and like caretaking and things like that. You
Mhm.
learn how to nurture. You learn
Yep.
how to be still. You learn how to be patient. You learn like
Yeah.
all of these things that actually is very like those skill sets are like needed when communicating with people like this,
Mhm.
like or because what if I was on here and then I went something and you didn't agree, like you're gonna
Mhm.
be patient and like collect yourself and say, okay, well,
Mhm.
what, like dig deeper. But it's just like everything that we do really do light our path. If you walk
Yeah.
by faith, everything is not in vain. Like there's if you walk
Yeah.
in faith, there's nothing in vain. Like
Mhm.
period. Period. It may not feel good sometimes. It may make you cry, may make you break down, or you'd be like, oh my god, why am I here kind of situation. But
Mhm.
you always come out a better, b
Yeah.
learning something new, and then c using that to go farther.
Using it. Yeah. No, it's so true. And it's just the power in the waiting and the power in not always having to know like how it's gonna happen.
Exactly.
It's gonna
It's
happen.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to be your first guest on your actual syndicated television show.
Ah! Okay, we're marking that.
We're
Mark it
marking
in
that. You
yours.
know, I want to be the
We're
first.
claiming it. We're
I want to
claiming
be
it.
the first.
I love
We're gonna keep this
that.
going, and we gotta wear
Bring
blue. You know,
And we have to wear blue. By the way, this was not planned, everyone.
it's
We
not
just
planned.
like did the blue thing and it worked.
It's a blue thing. You
It's
know.
a blue thing. Well, Ricky, how can everyone find you? How can they support you? Yeah.
Yeah, you can find me on social media, Ricky Davii, and the company is We So Slick .com, but on Instagram, yeah, on Instagram it's We So Slick. Everything is there, and then Live Streetwear, LIB Streetwear without the E. But yeah, so we can find everything there. Follow me.
Perfect.
And I'll follow everybody back. I'm weird. I'll be like, hey,
Yes.
call you back. So yeah, show love. This is family. We all, let's do it.
Amazing. Well, I'll put all of your social channels and all of your descriptions in the comment box below. But if anyone has any questions for Ricky or wants to get in touch and ask him anything else, feel free to DM him or,
Email
maybe
me.
you can email him.
Yep.
It's such a good time we had today. And I'm so happy that you joined me. And I really hope that someone got something out of this. I know that they're going to get something out of this. And I'm just so happy that you joined me today and that you shared all of your gems. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know what just happened. I just started. Sorry. No, thank you so much. Keep going, sis. Like you are killing it. Be
Thank you.
great. This is needed. And yes, just keep going, please.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode. For more episodes, make sure to check out the link in my bio and also make sure to search and subscribe on YouTube to Let's Talk Life with London. Bye.